absolutely going to challenge your shopping strategy in this video. And that's because simple shifts in your grocery store habits can lead to massive savings and not only allow you to build a pantry that you love, but that you actually know how to cook with. Oh, I'm glad that interests you. In this video, I'm sharing over 7 different recipes and meal ideas that'll help you put meals on the table tonight and stock your pantry with affordable, healthy ingredients that don't require you to clip coupons, buy a membership, or other shenanigans. Plus, this video comes with a free grocery guide and recipe cards for the meal ideas I'll share with you. If you're on my email list, you've already got it. Each month, this grocery guide is tailored to seasonal produce you'll find in stores, which will be in abundant supply and at the lowest price than any other time of the year. So, planning your meals around these foods is where you really start to see your dollar go further. In addition to eating it fresh, you also need to think about, are you going to can some, freeze it, ferment it, dehydrate it, whatever, so that you have enough to last when you can no longer source it inexpensively or grow it yourself. So we're going to take these low-cost, fresh, healthy foods, pair them with some basic pantry staples, and that's how we're gonna make the upcoming meals I'm gonna show you. So the fruits that you wanna purchase a meal plan around this month include
strawberries, cherries, blackberries, blueberries, apricots, peaches, nectarines, plums, rhubarb, and raspberries.
And the veggies that you want to meal plan around this month include
asparagus, artichokes, green beans, lettuce, radishes, spring onions, peas, spinach, broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, beets, and potatoes.
A classic summer treat is eggplant, which usually kicks off its seasonal debut in mid-May. So here's a very filling dinner recipe you'll want to try.
The versatility of eggplant cannot be understated. This recipe starts with sauteing chopped onions in a pan, then adding some ground beef. To stretch things, I usually start some rice too. Then I'll take my eggplant, slice it in half, and carve out the center to make an eggplant boat. You can then take the center portion, dice it up, and then add it to your meat skillet on the stove. Using a silicone baking sheet, you'll take your eggplant boats and place them in a 400-degree oven to tenderize for about 20 to 30 minutes. This gives you enough time to return back to the stove and season up your cooking meat and eggplant. I like to add chili flakes, pepper, salt, Italian seasoning, and smoked paprika. I added a can of diced tomatoes, then folded in the cooked rice. To thicken things up a bit, I added a few scoops of tomato paste, then removed my eggplant boats from the oven, and I filled them with the meat mixture and then placed them back in the oven for, I think like another 10 minutes. After that, plate your eggplant boats, sprinkle with a bit of fresh or dried dill, and you've got a hefty dinner on your hands. And oh, eggplant skin is completely edible and very tasty. There should be nothing but a clean plate left after this meal.
Now spring is when Napa cabbages and radishes are flourishing, bringing out their freshest, most crisp flavors. And a lot of the produce that's growing in your backyard garden includes things like spring onions and garlic chives or mustard greens, all of which are things that can perish on you pretty quickly, but not if you ferment them. And did you know that nearly every spring crop can be combined to make kimchi? It's a recipe that the book Fermented Vegetables makes so easy to create in your own kitchen. And I've shared this recipe right here on the channel. And if you're giving kimchi a yuck, I'm about to turn it into a yum. Kimchi offers a satisfying crunch with a refreshing bite that is unraveled in the world of pickling. It's an ingredient that adds an umami punch to everyday meals like tacos, fried rice, and grilled cheese sandwiches. But especially and very importantly, burgers. Now my husband prides himself on being a burger aficionado. He is all about an overloaded burger, and this combo gets it right. Take a look.
Bacon pairs especially well with kimchi, and it's a flavor combination you don't want to miss. The salty richness of the bacon is perfectly balanced by the tangy spiciness of the kimchi, so fry or bake a few slices to kick off this recipe. I always pour and store my bacon grease in a jar, not only because it's a replacement for oil and butter, but also because it's so dense with flavor that'll complement any meat or vegetable and will store for weeks in your fridge. Now we'll get to cook our burger patties and all that bacon flavor. The container that I'm using is just a stacking burger press that stores in the fridge. While the burgers are cooking, we're going to make the spread, which is a combination of mayo and sriracha sauce, but you can also use your favorite barbecue sauce if you want more sweet than heat. Give things a good stir and do a taste test to get it to your liking. I'm going to flip the burgers over because they're almost done, and in a separate skillet, I'm going to lightly sear my buns with butter, and then I'm going to go ahead and add a few slices of Colby cheese to melt over the burgers. Oh yeah, those buns came out perfect. Now I want you to watch how fast this decadent burger comes together. First, you're going to spoon your sriracha mayo mix across the bottom buttered bun like so. But actually, because this sauce is so good, let's go ahead and add it not only to the bottom but the top bun as well. Then grab your burgers from the pan and place them on top. Gracious, this burger only gets better as you build it. Now it's time to take our bacon and stack a few slices on the top bun. And finally, adorn with our spicy, crunchy, tangy kimchi, which will be adding a ton of probiotic goodness to this dish. If you like a burger that is a mouthful of flavor combinations and textures, this burger is one that you'll come back to again and again. Your family, friends, or dinner guests will be so engulfed with its goodness that they won't know or care that the kimchi is filling them with tons of fiber, minerals, vitamins, and probiotics that come from this fermented topping. The recipe for your savory kimchi burger is in this month's grocery guide.
I don't know about you, but a side that screams summer are baked beans. Whether you're grilling out back or with friends or at a summertime gathering, a really good pot of savory baked beans is going to make its appearance on your plate somewhere next to the burger or the coleslaw or the buttery ear of corn. Am I right? Which is why I started creating my own stash so that I am ready for June, July, and August entertaining. Bush's baked beans ain't got nothing on me. Plus, it is super simple to make your own delicious pot right at home.
The only rule for baked beans is that you want to stick with thick skin varieties like navy, kidney, or pinto beans so that you don't end up with a pot of mush, which is why smaller beans like navy beans that stay tender after long cooking times are generally used. After letting your beans soak for a few hours and up to overnight, you'll add chopped onions and peppers to a pan to saute. I'm using a combination of colors because it's simply what I have on hand. I've also used jalapeno peppers, no peppers, and just onions in the past because truly it's about getting your bean sauce perfected that stands out the most. Alright, so after that I'm going to use some ketchup sauce and tomato paste that I've already stocked to serve as the base of my sauce. Seasonal tomatoes will start coming in at the farmer's market next month, and that's when I'm going to make more baked beans with truly homemade sauce, but ketchup and paste are still cheaper than store-bought barbecue sauce. I'm going to boil my beans for 15 minutes and use my roaster to flavor my tomato sauce with the flavors of brown sugar, apple cider vinegar, Dijon, horseradish, garlic, and a little bit of smoke flavor, maple syrup, and Worcestershire sauce into my large roaster to let those flavors just marinate. Next, I add the peppers, and I usually go back in with a few more seasonings to round out the final taste. Home canned sauce is a bit thinner than what you would make otherwise, but this is to ensure that the heat easily penetrates through the jar during the pressure canning. Plus, there's just the savings around how much cheaper a bag of beans and standard pantry items come together to give you the deliciousness of your favorite store-bought canned beans for a fraction of the cost. I even added my own chopped bacon, which of course you have to make sure you remove the fatty bits. I ended up making 20 pints of home canned baked beans for roughly 35 cents each. No coupon can beat that price.
If this is our first time meeting, hi, I'm Cassandra from the blog BecomingAFarmGirl.com. I'm here to help you start canning and cooking from scratch and share ways to create home-cooked meals your family will love. If you haven't already, click below to get my free grocery guide delivered straight to your inbox each month. All right, so we've done burgers and baked beans, and since we're headed for the summer, you know we have to round it out with coleslaw, which can be made in batches that you can water bath can and put on your shelf for as long as you like. And yes, it keeps its crunch. Take a look at how easy stocking your own coleslaw is to make.
I just love a good slaw, and this recipe is too simple not to make. Start with a firm head of cabbage and chop it up. The size is up to you. Just make sure it's relatively uniform. Next, you'll need some peppers, and I'm using a combination of orange, yellow, and red peppers to create a striking final jar product. Then you'll also need some carrots, and I strongly recommend peeling them because carrot skin can have a bitter taste when cooked. We're going to need to grate the carrots, and while a hand grater works well, I finally thrifted a hand crank grater for large volumes like this. I love that all the parts are stainless steel and it comes with a large mixing bowl. Look at all these beautiful shreds that I whipped up in just seconds. I'm telling you, more and more I favor well-made manual appliances like this because they're built to last for a lifetime and don't involve a lot of parts or hard-to-find electronics to operate. And to this bowl, I'm going to add my chopped cabbage and the bell pepper mix, along with some chopped onion, and then you'll need to give everything a good mix to thoroughly combine. After that, you'll sprinkle with salt, and I want you to stick with unrefined sea salt, which contains more minerals, has better flavor, and doesn't come with additives. Give things one more good stir about. The salt will draw out the excess water from the cabbage while helping to preserve the crispiness. While that's soaking, let's create the brine, which is several cups of 5% vinegar and sugar. This doesn't make the coleslaw sweet, but it does balance out the acidity we need to safely preserve this to be shelf stable. This recipe is in your grocery guide, but I also like adding mustard seed and celery seed. The cabbage has been sitting for about 2 hours, so let's rinse it and add it to our canning jars. Ooh, now didn't I tell you how pretty these jars would look? When you're a canner, comforting sights like this happen in your kitchen all the time. All right, after that, we just pour over our cooled brine, followed by debubbling our jars with either a plastic or a wooden spatula, and this helps to remove trapped air. And then after that, you're going to just place your canning lids on top of the jars and then add the rims, twisting just until they are fingertip tight. And then you're going to put the jars into a preheated water bath canner and bring to a full rolling boil for 10 minutes. Now, I intentionally made extra brine, which I'm spooning into jars so that I can stick them in the fridge for when I go to make my next small batch of coleslaw. This slaw is so good on its own, but you can also add wet ingredients like mayo when you actually go to enjoy it. Now this is a can of coleslaw from last summer. See, it's just as fresh and crunchy as the day I canned it. This busy weeknight, I threw some canned chicken with barbecue sauce in the crock pot, added my canned slaw on top, and we enjoyed an all-in-one meat, veggies, and starch meal. Now that's what I call canning convenience.
Another burger recipe for you. Not only is this sandwich perfect for supper, but it also uses the bounty of the springtime garden and will fill your family up with nutrition. My guess is that you'll probably plate this one up tonight.
The side for this burger will be a few handfuls of petite potatoes I'll slice, season, and roast in a bit of olive oil. After that, I'm going to grab some ground beef, which I'll also season with just a little bit of salt, and then also add some pepper, some lemon juice, and then some scallions from the garden. After mixing to incorporate all the ingredients, I'll freeform my patties, and what I like to do is just size them out first, and then I go back in with the palm of my hand and smash them down. Next, you'll transfer your patties to a warm skillet to cook. Now the spread on this burger is just some mayo and minced garlic seasoned with some lemon juice, a little bit of salt, and pepper. Now let's get to the kale, and here too we use the same seasonings, but you really want to massage everything into the leaves. Tending back to the burgers on the stove, I've sprinkled them with fresh rosemary from the garden and then bits of Gouda cheese. Then I place the lid on top to melt everything down. I'm using some ciabatta rolls that my husband brought home, and I just toasted them in the skillet to add a nice little crunch. Now it's time to spread our aioli sauce on the bottom bun. Then add our seasoned kale, the Gouda melted burger patties, and the top bun. This is such a refreshing burger and so good that I forgot to add the roasted potatoes. This recipe is also in this month's grocery guide.
So earlier I I shared a kimchi recipe, but if you still have any reservations, I want to share with you another kraut recipe that is an absolute crowd pleaser. If you haven't tried pineapple kraut, it's the summer side that you didn't even know you were missing.
Since discovering how different and delicious homemade kraut tastes versus the stinky store stuff that I was convinced I did not like, I've been keeping kraut as a mainstay nearly year-round. Now, to keep things from getting boring, you switch out your fixings with seasonal items, and you've got a brand new taste. A recipe that I came across a few years ago on one of my favorite homestead bloggers, Anna Scott from A Farm Girl in the Making, raved about a recipe that she gleaned from a friend. It's a wonderful combination of a punchy and sweet kraut, perfect for warmer weather. It starts off like other kraut, slicing your cabbage and adding salt to draw out the moisture, and then you take your pineapple, which are abundant this time of year, and remove the crown, peel, and core. And I like to save all of those parts to make pineapple flavored iced tea, so I'm tucking them in the fridge for later. The kraut has been sitting for about 30 minutes, and you can already start to see that the excess water is draining, but you really want to give it at least an hour. Next, we've got to grate some carrots, which this time I'll just use a small hand grater for because I'm just making a 2-quart batch. And then you're also going to add some diced onion and cilantro. It's now been a full hour later, and the salt has removed a lot of the water from the cabbage. So now I'm going to add in the carrots, along with the chopped onion and cilantro. Let's not forget the pineapple, and then toss everything together. Here's where I also like to add just a little bit of pepper. And then I'll take my sauerkraut pounder, and I prefer to use the stainless steel one to the wooden ones because they're easier to clean and it doesn't require maintenance like the wooden ones. So yeah, you just push everything down inside of your jars. Then use a glass weight like this to fully submerge the ingredients under the brine. And then I like to use these fermentation lids because you don't have to worry about burping your jars every day. And they have an easy tab to both open and close your jars. That's it. The perfect summertime kraut will be ready in about a week, but lasts up to 18 months.
You've heard me share before that building your kitchen around food preservation methods like canning, dehydrating, and fermenting gives you the ability to stockpile produce, meats, and your own creations in a way that eliminates waste and reduces the cost of your food budget. For example, the other day when I was at Wise, I found all of these marked down bags of fresh green beans. When I saw all those bags marked down to $2.99, I looked to my left and my right, and I grabbed all the bags knowing that I could just take them home and pressure can them. And as I was tossing those bags into my cart, I was just thinking to myself, wow, because I know how to pressure can, which is not hard at all, I can create my own convenience foods that are going to be much cheaper than the green beans that I am going to find, down the aisle. Now, yes, I do grow an impressive amount on a deck, but I am a person that still relies on the grocery store, and my pressure canner, and actually this stock pot, they are the lifeblood of my kitchen in terms of being able to stock a pantry with items and foods that, one, we enjoy, that are healthy and that are catered to our dietary preferences in a way that has really just allowed us to be economically resilient as, prices change and fluctuate and all of those things. I'm not kidding about this, y'all, but every time I enter a grocery store, I feel like I'm on stealth mode, secretly playing an entirely different grocery game than others that go without a plan, or ignore sales cycles, or are limited to just using the fridge or the freezer, or rely on ready-made but severely marked up products. Hey, I'm just telling you, preservation is where it's at.
So when I got home, I took my 4 2-pound bags of green beans, ripped the bags open, and rinsed them off. I was so tickled that they were already snapped, which, hey, just saying, it's the most tedious part about canning fresh green beans. All I really did was just neatly place them in my canning jars, and I added chicken broth. Yes, you absolutely can use water, but the flavor is so much better if you have chicken broth on hand. After that, I added my 4 jars canning lids. Look at those beautifully thick seals. And I placed my lids and rims on the jars. And then because green beans are a low acid food, I use my pressure canner to cook them per the guidelines of 90 minutes. That's it. I stocked 10 quarts of green beans for 40 cents a can and very little work.
Now y'all, we've also got Memorial Day coming up, which comes with a lot of great deals on summer foods. You'll find summer ingredients like ketchup, mustard, relish, barbecue sauce, and other condiments at really good prices. So you're gonna wanna stock up so that you have enough to last you for a while. All of those items are shelf stable and can last for months, and they're excellent to take to things like, potlucks and work events. You should also find good deals on, this is the time to get them if you kind of indulge from time to time, chips, dips, salad dressings, some more supplies, but I showed you the absolute cheapest way to make them last month. Hamburger and hot dog buns will also be on good sales too. Your grilling meat sale should also start to be good this month, so be sure to stock up on extra and then just put it in the freezer or can it. Memorial Day sales often include small kitchen appliances such as blenders and coffee makers, and they make really great gifts for upcoming summer weddings or Mother's Day, which is also this month.
I am always poking around in the clearance section and especially in the medical aisle because prices can be really high there, but periodically you will find sales. Like I found this BioFreeze stuff. The original price was $10.99, marked down to $2.74. So these are just, little patches that you can put on your body. I also found, and I love these. So these are the self-grip bandages, originally $3.49. I am now grabbing this for $1.74. They're just so much more cost effective and you can reuse them multiple times. So it's my preference just for, little small wounds that I get here and there. Again, this self-grip bandage, the wider one, was originally $7.99. I got it for $3.89. Then I found the Icy Hot stuff. So $1.87, marked down from $7.49. I found these patches for $2.04. They're made for kids, which I thought was fine. There are 5 patches in each. A roll-on for $2.49. You can't even beat this on the generic price. And then I found the Scaraway stuff. These are silicone sheets, originally $20. Hold on, can you see this? $20. There it goes. Hold on. Yeah, $20. $4.99. Because actually, I had another kitchen hazard a couple of weeks ago, and that happened. Not a big deal. It's going to fade. But, I would not be bothered with silicone sheets for $20, but for $4.99, I'll give them a try. And then I found this Scar Gel, too. Do you see this big box? It's, like, bigger than the size of my hand. This would have originally been $19.99 as well. I got it for $4.99. But, why would you waste this much packaging on this? Now, I know a little goes a long way. That's fine. 0.35 ounces, 10 grams for $20. Anyways, I am not disappointed because I paid $5 for that. And then I also found this homeopathic salve, and it helps to draw out splinters and grown hairs, temporarily release pain, itchiness, and irritation from boils, minor skin eruptions, and bites. And so this ended up being $4, so that was a good price. And then this is like some type of spray Band-Aid, a liquid bandage spray. For $1.74. So this is probably a cosmetic bag that I thrifted from the thrift store over a year ago. I showed y'all in another video, and I pretty much just pretend, or I use it to be my portable pharmacy. So it has things like thermometers, bandages. I do have some other kind of store-bought cough drops. I do have my home apothecary, and I'm confident in kind of very basic things, but for anything where I need backups, I have my, sprays and bandages and, some commercial like medicines and stuff like that. But this is how I'm able to kind of keep this thing stocked from time to time. So I'm going to take everything out of the package and add it to my portable walking pharmacy, because you just always want to have something like this stocked and ready to go. You don't know what you need until you need it in that moment. And this is how I make sure that I have what I need on hand. Okay, so both you and I thought that this was going to be a few more years off, so you are going to be just as surprised as I am when I say this. So let's rip off the Band-Aid. I found land. Honey, I said found land, not bought. And by that, I mean that I have an in-the-ground garden spot. Is it because I finally got off my county's community garden plot wait list after the past 4 years?
Nope. It's because since November, I've been helping a new homesteader friend on her property about twice a week. Now, let me say that the reason that I haven't mentioned it until now is because I am genuinely there to help and learn, and I don't see this as a filming opportunity. And more pragmatically, filming while doing farm chores from a technical aspect would just be a nightmare. I mean, she has over 30 chickens. There's guineas. She has over 19 sheep. We're raising meat birds.
Pictures. This is true. Yeah, because they're only going to be cute here for another 2 weeks.
We have, her larger gardens, and anytime I'm over there, I mean, we just get straight into work, and there's a lot going on. Anywho, she and her husband gave me my very own fenced-in garden. Y'all, after years of growing exclusively on my deck in vertical planters, I am now officially an in-the-ground gardener, and I'm kind of nervous.
I've been saving some free seeds that were given to me at a homesteading conference because the varieties were full-sized, and I only grow compact crops in the 5 vertical planters on my deck. Well, now that I have an in-ground garden lot, I can try varieties that I won't find in stores and will be full-size. Selecting my seeds was so exciting. I'm mostly going with crops that store well, like squash, beans, and fun stuff like tall cutting flowers. I just planted everything last week, and as I can, I will keep you posted.
So I just planted my first succession of summer crops, and I'll let you know how that's going. All right, so now I've got to catch you up on my hunting because I just went on my very first turkey hunt last week. And after several months of taking my time, considering my options, and shopping around, I got a shotgun too. But if you're not up to speed, a couple of months ago, I was accepted into a mentoring hunt program sponsored by Maryland's Department of Natural Resources. A cohort of about 15 mentees, so people like me with no hunting experience, are paired with experienced hunters, and they're the mentors. And if you're wondering what got me into hunting in the first place, it was food preservation. Caught me by surprise too. I mean, I just wanted to start growing a little bit of what I eat. And after I had success with some veggies, I thought, hey, maybe I could do meats. Which led into learning how to raise and harvest quail, chickens, and turkeys. Which gave me the confidence and aha moment, why not start learning how to hunt? I mean, for me, and actually many of us, it removes the barriers of needing land, the cost of feed, and daily livestock chores. Plus, Maryland's deer population is nuts. Now, the mentors that are teaching us have a pretty sweet and expensive collection of shotguns, rifles, pistols, and the like. But I'm on a single-minded mission. I mean, just due to my lifestyle with my full-time job and other commitments, I want to keep things simple. And so I want something that is incredibly versatile and that I can hunt with across the seasons. And at the beginning of the program, when we had target practice and we got a chance to try all, these different things, it turns out that I am a shotgun natural gal. What can I say? So I settled on the Mossberg 500 20-gauge pump shotgun.
I drove to my neighboring state of Pennsylvania to pick up my shotgun at a store called Sportsman's Warehouse, which is very similar to the Bass Pro Shops that we have here in Maryland.
I really love this one because it comes with chokes so I can change the pattern of the pellets. And that's what makes it appropriate for the quarry, whether it's deer, rabbits, geese, turkey, squirrels. And Mossberg is actually the oldest family-owned firearms manufacturer in the US, dating back to 1919. And throughout all that time, they've been known as being an extremely reliable, straightforward shotgun that's gonna get the job done. In fact, a Mossberg 500 is something that a child of 10, if they grew up in a family that, has a hunting tradition, would likely learn how to start shooting on. And of course, I had to call my dad.
Hey, Dad. It's going. Say hello to my little friend.
So before each hunt, we have target practice and orientation.
We started the day with target practice, but just having gotten my shotgun 2 days earlier, I waited to assemble it with supervision from one of the mentors. I so appreciate the cohort structure of mentors and mentees in this program, and we're all in a Facebook group together. I have truly felt supported along my process of becoming a hunter. time for me to take my first shot. You ready? Yes, I hit the target from the 25-yard line. When we went back to hunt control, we ran into a hunter that was bringing his turkey to the weigh station. This was my first time seeing a wild turkey up close and personal. Stunning, right? Shortly after, Valerie, an experienced hunter and one of the mentors, and I took a closer look.
Who else got? Didn't somebody else get one?
Kyle did down in South, or Schaefer. They haven't come back yet though. The other hunters went down. That alternate that we had, they went down.
Big boy.
Anybody else besides that? It was,
These are my favorite feathers right here.
They're gorgeous.
Because they have a little bit of iridescence
He's
in
still out,
them.
but he said
Like,
he
and in the
didn't find
sun,
it.
this like tan taupe color with like
Where we
this
guys
little bit
at?
of iridescence really goes.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Stunning looking.
You don't like, really know the iridescence until you like get a close look at them. It's pretty amazing.
I can get my one. I'm not sure. I need to give you my. Do you know what your program is?
Gorgeous, I know.
So like majestic, you
Right?
know?
Yeah.
Yeah, people are like turkey, but like no, they're like stunning.
They're beautiful birds.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah, you're right. This is
And then you can see too, like,
How you pack it Right.
so when they're strutting, they're putting their wingtips down on the ground, and so the tips of their wings will break off. So
Oh,
you can
yes,
kind of
yes,
see
yes.
like the little broken tips of the wings.
wow.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
It is. Oh my gosh. Then we went inside for orientation and training.
We're over 40,000. Our population is actually starting to go down on the eastern shore. Some, southern Maryland, I think, staying pretty steady. And
Now I'm going to do the other call. That one sounded good. There we go. Anyone else? It's fun. During our training, we were strongly encouraged to get this Sawyer tick spray and put it all over our gear. So I hosed down my turkey vest, which comes with its own seat and plenty of storage pockets, as well as my clothes. The Refuge Gates opened at 4, but I got up at 3 a.m. to arrive extra early. And while I didn't bring back a wild turkey, I did find some mullen. Oh, this is mullen.
That's mullen. This is mullen. Yeah. It's actually pretty right now.
Oh, it's so pretty. I have this vintage ball brand jar that I like to use for my tinctures. Plant compounds in mullen are known to have cough-reducing and expectorant or mucus-thinning properties. And for thousands of years, people have used mullen for asthma, bronchitis, pneumonia, colds, cough, and many other conditions. And making mullen tincture is a very simple process. You just need harvested mullen, vodka, or Everclear, and then you crush the leaves, place them in a clean jar until they're about 3/4 of the way full, and then cover it with either Everclear or vodka. After a month, you strain it and it's ready to use.
And let me tell you, hunters, they're my kind of folks. You've got a good mix of younger and older hunters, and let me tell you, no experienced hunter is ever without bragging stories. When you are speaking with an experienced hunter, there is this confluence of knowledge around animal tracking, topography, weather, history of the land, prior experience, hunting laws. And I just found it beautiful, the skill of being able to imitate wild animal sounds in a way that they respond back to you. It is very much an intelligence and an art form that you don't get to see or very less appreciate if you aren't around other hunters. And I say this as a baby hunter, knowing that I have so much to learn. In fact, sometimes I'm very much overwhelmed. But it is an experience that and a skill set with such amazing utility that I wouldn't trade. And I know that as the seasons go by that I am developing my capacity, and I just feel so honored to be learning this trade. So the tactic that we used on the day of the hunt was called run and gun, because we weren't able to, the spot that we had, we got in through, I don't think it's the same like everywhere, but it was through the lottery, and they don't tell you where you're hunting until like the morning of. And so you can't kind of like scout to see where the turkeys are nesting and that kind of thing. But I mean, you can look for signs. And so that's what we were doing. And even just being able to hear a wild turkey in the wild is just, I mean, at one point there were probably several of them, and they sound like, I don't know, like I think what you would think like a stampede of like mini dinosaurs would sound like. And I just, like, it will not be my last time. Tomorrow, before the season ends, no, not tomorrow, next weekend, there's range practice, so I'm gonna go. And then myself and another mentee are going to try to go, I think the week after. And so even though this time wasn't successful in that regard, as we were kind of going throughout the reserves, look what I found. Look what I found, and it's from a mature tom. See, this is stunning, right? Okay, I'm about to do a very like poor impersonation, but this is just how much knowledge like these hunters have. So the one facilitator, when I had brought it back and like was showing everybody, but he was like, oh yeah, this is from a mature tom that's probably between the ages of 7 to 8. You can tell that this was, he took his hand and like did this like over to like the left-hand side, probably about 3/4 of the way up. I mean, it was just, it was crazy, right? But that's how hunters are. Even my my mentor V. So we're assigned a mentor, but then all of us are just talking and all that other kind of stuff all the time. But they are just, you just have to see it in action, and like I've just been in awe of everything. But yeah, don't kids grow up so fast? And even more so, our fur babies? Well, our little guy, a Frenchie named Thor, turned 8 this month. And as a dog mom, we always mark his bark day. In case you missed it, the last video I posted shares how I run a pretty efficient gardening system in a very small space. And I give you a look into my storage system, the tools I keep on hand, and how I start and set up my seeds indoors. To get more from scratch meal ideas and food preservation inspiration, click on the video on your screen. I'll see you in my kitchen or garden soon. Take care, friends.